so you can start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got the agenda in front of you. Are there any changes to the agenda, any additions or deletions? Nothing else? If you have nothing else, is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Public comment. Does anyone who wishes to address the council? Public? Nope. Moving forward. We have the consent agenda, 4.1, approval of minutes for the September 12th, 2015 regular meeting, approval of minutes for the December 2015 Park Board meeting, and additional claims for the month of October. Any of those need to be pulled out for further discussion? Okay, if not, then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made, second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, going on to staff reports. Public Works.
Kyle was going to be present tonight. I don't know where, he may have gotten held up or something, but he should be coming. I don't know if you want to delay to talk to him. I know the water tower's back online,
Yeah,
so.
that was exciting. Exciting.
When did that go back online?
Today.
It went back Saturday night or Sunday it went, but we just put everything out today. He wanted to wait, and we did it on Facebook, and I had it on the electronic sign. We changed it, so I think it was Saturday or Sunday he came in to do it. He got that.
I think he told me it was Saturday if the test came back, right, so must have done sometime Saturday. Well, then, nothing else. Let's come back to, if Kyle gets here, we can come back to him. Otherwise, I guess his report is printed here. We can look through it and see if we have any questions or he has any other comments later on. City engineer.
Not present tonight, but his staff report is in your packet. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to relay those to him.
I was just curious, what was the correspondence with MnDOT regarding future improvements?
It's gonna be on the November 23rd work session, where we're gonna talk about, MnDOT wants to put in their capital plan, the extension of Highway 25 or our Main Street all the way out to city limits to County Road 30. So it would require, they'd fill in the ditch, and then we'd put sidewalks and lights all the way out. So curb and gutter.
Their dollar or our dollar?
It'd probably be a cooperative agreement on ours, but it's like for 2025 or something, that they just wanna get it on paper. So
Okay.
it's not, and Dave has more details about that, or 2020, it's a future thing that they wanna do, and he was gonna bring that to you if on the work session tonight, but since he couldn't be here, we moved it to November.
Okay.
Was there any conversation regarding the settlements in Highway 25 all the way through town?
He's aware of all those, I don't know if he's done anything about that or not.
Talked to MnDOT about it?
I don't know if he has or not.
Okay.
I can ask him.
Well, if they're talking about future projects, I think they should look at trying to fix those.
You mean where it's settled?
Yeah, maybe do a mill and overlay to fix some of those areas where it's settled.
I guess I don't pay attention. I just ride the bumps, so I guess I don't pay attention. Where are some in particular?
I'd say there's 5 or 6 of them
In town?
in town.
Okay. I'm not-
To name exactly what intersection or what building they're in front of.
Okay,
I
I'll
can't-
have to pay attention. Like I said, I just kind of take the bumps as they come, so. Okay, Kyle is here. Did you have anything else to add to your report?
No, I did not. Water tower's back up and running, that's pretty much all I had. Whether I did, I ran it really well. Kaylon did a great job as far as I'm concerned. There is just a few little bunch of items left, and we'll be able to tidy it up pretty quick, so. Sure is nice, feel like a big weight has been on my shoulders.
Kyle did a great job on that water tower too.
Oh, yeah.
So going forward, is there anything that needs to be done to that on a yearly basis to maintain the integrity?
There is, I think after 2 years, we got a 2-year warranty on it. By the end of the 2-year warranty, I think we're gonna do another inspection of it, make sure everything's, right. They did mention to me, we'll have to start thinking about the exterior coating, would probably be next on the list. There's a couple different options we can go with that. We can either recoat the whole outside with a 2-coat process, which would probably be cheaper within the next 3-4 years. Or if we wait another 10 years, then we'll have to do a complete sandblast and recoat of the whole thing. So I'll get a little bit more in-depth description on what will last us and that kind of thing, or what would be our
Okay.
options, so.
We should have those numbers before we go through the exercise with Minnesota Rural Water. Today Jerry came up because we had a meeting with Minnesota Rural Water this morning about water rates and sewer rates. And she's gonna come back, we're gonna do a special meeting on the 30th of November, but to have some of those expenses so that we can show you what the water rates and sewer rates should be, so.
Okay, yeah, I'll have a few comments about that meeting this morning too, coming up later. Okay, so we're done with city engineer, right? Anybody have questions for city engineer? Okay. Okay, so we're going to city administration.
Mayor, council members, you have my report in front of you. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about it.
How did the meeting go with the superintendent?
Did really well. We're talking about bringing up the meeting we used to have, Jerry, with the cities and the schools, and then he talked about community ed. Him and I, he would like to do another meeting now with him and I and Shane from Watertown, just to see what we can do to try to, if there's any other things that we can do together. He kind of thinks that mayor gets kind of forgotten, and how do we bring you back into the fold? He talked about that, bring you back into the fold of the school.
Yep.
And so he didn't know, because I shared with him the census book that showed that mayor used to have its own school district, and he didn't realize it was consolidated, that we at one time were our own. So he took that information, and he wants to try to make the city more inclusive with the school district, so.
Yeah, I had run into him at open house, I think you had too, and kind of talked to him a little bit about that, and I think he had come from a school district that kind of is like the mayor of Watertown School District, where they've kind of worked through some of those issues in the past, so hopefully he'll have a good ideas how to kind of clean some of that stuff up. So.
Yeah, he's at the community ed meeting on Thursday, so.
Okay, moving on. 6.1 approval of the agreement with the city of New Germany for use of mayor compost site.
Mr. Mayor, council members, staff had discussed with the city council about the city of New Germany residents using the city's compost site to dispose of their brush. Staff informed the city of New Germany that the city mayor would allow the residents to use the compost site for the brush. So New Germany is proposing the attached agreement with an implementation date of January 1, 2016. The fee that they will pay to the city of mayor is $2,500 annually. So a motion authorizing the mayor's signature on the document would be in order. I will give one caveat to you. Dave Hubert drew this agreement up. He is our city attorney, also city of New Germany's, and if you're okay with that, it's, unless you want to have someone else review it, I don't know, it's a pretty straightforward document, so.
I don't see much that can be strange about a compost agreement, so.
He brought that forward to me and asked me whether the city would be comfortable, and I said I thought we would, but I would like you to know that's what I told him.
I wouldn't see any problem with that unless somebody else in the council has objections to it. I wouldn't see any problem with that.
No, I don't have any problem with it. Just one question regarding the annual amount of $2,500. Where did that number come from?
It's we decided that it would be what would cost probably to be able to chip, if we had to pay to chip. And we just use that money then to chip from them. And it was given to us by the county We worked through it with the county and what we should ask for, and we worked, Twyla and Marcus and I met and came up with that number, so.
Well, Luann brought it up at a meeting too here, and we kind of agreed that would be,
Did I bring up 2,500? I don't remember.
yeah.
I don't remember
Mhm.
that. My only question is, based on the number of dumpsters that they would use in a year, how does the $2,500
Dumpsters for what, Bruce?
that they haul out now,
They're not bringing their compost, it's just the brush.
it's just the brush?
Right, and if we can get a large enough volume, we can actually have it chipped free, so then this
Mhm.
money would just help us pay for our compost employee and pay for some chipping if we had to chip the brush. So their compost isn't coming here, the grass clippings isn't coming here.
Okay.
It does say that, right?
Yes.
Yep, right, here, no grass clippings or other material.
Okay.
Right, and then there was discussion about, too, is about the size of the branches, because if we use the Midwaukans who, as the people that chip, they can chip up to a 12-inch branch, but we restricted it to 3 inches in here, just because. So I guess, you know, if we get a big storm or something, and they bring more, we'll have to revisit this. And I think that's in here, too, about, something about some, if we
Yep.
have a storm.
I'm surprised they actually went with 3 inch, because that's not really a very big branch, but I guess that's, gotta be revisited, I guess, if they feel differently, but, okay, any other questions? Okay, is there a motion to approve this agreement then?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other questions? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, authorization of mayor's signature on the liability waiver form.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm not going to read all of this to you. Hopefully you read it all yourselves. But the League of Minnesota Cities allows cities several options for structuring their liability coverage, and the city council can choose to waive or to not waive the monetary limits that the statute provides. In the past, the city has always chose not to waive the statutory limits and to go with just what state statute requires us to pay. And we have to waive it and then have the mayor sign the document. So it tells, this memo lays out what would happen if we would waive it, if we waive it and we don't buy additional coverage, or if the city just waives the statutory tort limits and stays the same. So I just, unless you want me to read it all, I will. But always in the past, we would just went with what the state statute allows us to. We don't waive the monetary limits.
That's what we done in the past, you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Because then if you purchase additional, then it's more money too. You have to purchase
Right.
additional coverage. So why would you want to, we've always talked about, why would you want to insure for more than you have to when there's a statutory tort the limits that are set out in statute?
okay, anybody have any questions, any further questions or comments about this? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve the, signing the waiver that we are signing, that we are not waiving the limits? Is that what we're doing? Yes.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to approve this approval? Is there a second?
Seconded.
Okay, motion made and second to approve the, not waiving of the amount of the set of monetary limits. Okay, I got that right? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, 6.3, approval to close Friday, November 27th, day after Thanksgiving.
Mr. Mayor, council members, the city of Mayor has been closed the day after Thanksgiving for past several years. Staff's proposing again to be closed. It's not a holiday for the city, for us. Staff would use vacation time or comp time to replace the hours. This request is to not make the Friday after Thanksgiving a permanent holiday, but just to close again this year. Conducting the business on the day after Thanksgiving is very limited because many of the organizations and businesses that would utilize city services are also closed, and most residents are out of town. So a motion approving the closing of City Hall for the day after Thanksgiving on Friday, November 27th is the request.
Any questions or comments? If not, is there a motion to approve this request?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
A motion made and second to approve the closing of City Hall on the day after Thanksgiving. Any further comments or questions?
This is closing City Hall, is it also, is Kyle also off that day then?
Kyle can choose to be off if he wants to be. That's up to him. He'll come in and do rounds if that's what he wants to do, and then he can use vacation and sick time the rest of the day also. If we don't have snow, then he'll have to come in. I saw you doing the snow there. But yes, he can too if he chooses to. Or if he finds someone else to do rounds, he can have the whole day off, if that's what he wants to do.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, discussion approval of B license fee.
Mr. Mayor, council members, council had requested that the B license fee be placed on the next council agenda for discussion and action. Staff has proposed that a flat fee be set the same as the urban chicken license fee for $50 for the original license and $25 per year for renewals. Council will need to discuss and then give staff direction on what they want the fee to be for the B license. And I also attached the ordinance for you, so you have that.
I think I had asked to put it back on here because strictly from the, again, an educational type thing, if we could reduce it to even half, that would be more palatable for a student that is using it for some learning type things and sharing those learning, educational things with various classes. I guess if somebody comes and wants to do some commercial beekeeping, the $50 would be perfectly fine. I think for a student, I think we need to cut them a little break.
I understand that allowing a student to have a little break for that, but if a resident has chickens or bees, either one, is there anything on an annual, ongoing basis that has to be done every year, like an inspection, or that we need that license to cover?
Well, there's supposed to be an inspection, right, yes.
So, by cutting it in half, are we making enough to cover that annual inspection? That's my only concern, Jerry.
Do we have an inspection, or is it just if there's a...
The urban chicken one, I think we do.
I thought the bees there was...
Not sure on this one, we don't, I don't know.
I thought the bees was nothing as far as an inspection, the only time if there was a problem, then it would be an inspection.
Yes, that's true, yep.
But if there's a problem, then it would be a revocation of the license. And, I don't think there was anything, if I remember, that there was annual inspection required for that.
I think you're right, Jerry. I think the urban chicken one has it.
I can't recall the chicken one having it,
It does.
I think it
and I
does.
couldn't remember.
Who's doing that?
I don't know. I suppose I will have to do that this year. I'll send Kyle. He's delegated.
Well, isn't that just to see how many they have and
They
that their
lost
structure
them.
is?
Right, and you know their structure is good, it's what they had before, right? And I know that one died, because they told me that, they're down to 4.
I think the only thing we've got is right here, if there's information that's not being kept in compliance, then there's an investigation to be conducted.
Under E.
Yeah, but there's no yearly yearly check that has that. So I guess I would, like I said, I think we should, at least for an educational thing, again, if the school's gonna start selling honey, okay, then $50 is fine. If it's a student that's coming and doing some learning with it and sharing some of his learning, I think we could cut a break, do it half price would be.
I think the thing that I struggle with the most, and not that I disagree with doing this, is just that I feel like this ordinance was specifically put into place for this student, so that they could have these. But who owns the who's licensing it? Is it the student or is it the school? Because it's on the school property. And then, I mean, I'm kind of sad that that student isn't at these meetings and learning this process, and that you're just the spokesperson for them. I know that you guys talked to the school and said that they didn't have to come to the meetings, but I don't know, it's a really good learning to understand how this whole process works, that you can't just keep bees at your house or your school or the business. There's a whole process. I know that has nothing really to do with this fee thing, but, I mean, we're just making exceptions for everything, and, you know, we had some good points last time, is that there's, you know, there is fees associated with being in a sport or being in other clubs.
Well, I'll clarify a little bit. I didn't bring it on behalf of the school. I didn't bring it on behalf of Lutheran High or the student. When I heard there's a problem with the bees in the city, I brought it based on what I'm reading in the news about bees and beekeeping, and the necessity of having active, healthy bees in order, because I like to eat. That's part of my problem. And so, and since you know, a third half of my food is generated by bees pollinating our food, and there is a definite problem. It's not a matter of it's a supposed problem. You can read a lot of documentation on it. There is a definite problem with beekeeping. That's why I brought it to the council. I didn't bring it on behalf of the school. It just happened to come up because the school had the bees. I would have had the same reaction had my neighbor had a beehive there, and I would have the same reaction, because once I did the research on honeybees, it's not honeybees that sting, it's hornets, wasps, those things that sting.
Oh, no, I'm very familiar with.
So I would have done the same thing whether it been Lutheran High, Zion, or an individual resident. My reaction would have been the same, because I've been read enough about beekeeping and the environment to know that we need.
Well, I understand. Just from last meeting, you had mentioned that the student had bees in Watertown and wanted to bring them to the school. So,
Right,
I mean, you were specifically talking about an individual.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to.
They moved to Watertown because they can't have him here in Mayor right now. But he's a student here, and they had to move him elsewhere because they couldn't have him here.
Right.
Even though
It just would have been kind of nice to, if that student was really an advocate for this and wanted them in the school to learn the process on the side. But, I mean, I
mean, the family of the chickens, they were here, how many meetings? I mean, I get what you're
so if they
saying.
wanted a reduced rate or something because of that they can't afford it, but then it's the school, it's not the student. So, I mean, is the student having to reimburse the school for making the payment for the bees? Like, I don't understand that part. So, I mean.
And I don't know how they would handle it.
So I think that if they want to have a reduced, I mean, because that's really the only one, then they can come in and ask the council maybe. I don't know. That's where I'm at it. I mean, it is what it is.
I understand what you're saying, and I did tell Joel Lanskinner to send Luann an email or a letter or be here at requested himself. He did not. So if you don't want to approve, that's fine. I'm not going to upset you this way.
This is setting a fee, though. We need to
Yeah.
set a fee. We don't have
Right.
a license fee with it.
Yeah.
So we have to decide what that is.
Yeah.
But you're changing this because you want a reduced fee
Well,
for educational
just for
purposes.
educational purpose, just for education. For regular, anybody else, the $50 fine is fine, or $50 fee is fine. No problem with that. I'm just thinking of somebody at school and doing that. So, it may not come up again. There may be nobody else in the next 10, 15 years that asks this, and so it may be a moot conversation.
Maybe, to Nikki's point, maybe you set the fee and have the student come and make a presentation to the city council.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
Do
just
that.
use it as a learning. That's all I'm asking. I'm not
Okay.
saying that I disagree with this whole process and the fees, but why do we have to give an exception to a rule when we don't even technically know that person, a school's going to come in and ask for a reduced fee?
I'm comfortable with that.
Let's just I'd like to have that as an opportunity. I mean, use it as an education. We're a small community, like, this is a good time for them to come and learn, and it's not as scary because you're not in a big environment.
Maybe the fee is reduced or the fee is something if you come and make a presentation to the city council.
Yeah, I mean.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine.
I would make a motion that the fee gets set at $50.
and the renewal the same.
No,
Yeah.
25.
And the renewal at
Renewal's
$25.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there, okay, so we got a motion and a second to set the, beekeeping license fee at $50 for the initial license and $25 renewal. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Okay, that's it.
Mhm.
Holy cow.
We have council reports.
Council reports. Council reports.
Well, I went to a community ed meeting, finally. I think we had one in May. We meet quarterly. It was really good. We talked about kind of the same issues that the city had with communication and getting information out to people. So we kind of gave different ideas. We talked about different ways for them to let people know all the different activities that schools have, and said that I'll try to think of other things to have here in May or two, but to also reach out to like any of their exercise instructors, you know, or anything like that, if that there is, you know, there could be possibilities of having it here instead, or if their instructors wanted to come here. So it was just more of a brainstorming and figuring out different ways to communicate the different classes, and so they were really excited leaving the meeting and kind of trying to figure out more ways to make sure, because it's, you know, it's an important part of the community, and there's a lot of opportunities that people don't realize are there.
Mhm.
So it was good.
More ways to get mayor back in the fold, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, just another way.
Okay, anything else? I've got two things otherwise. Okay, go ahead.
We had, first of all, let me start with the Rising Community Festival. We had the craft fair this weekend, and it went really well. It was jam-packed with crafters, so the committee did an excellent job of getting crafters and being organized. And then the community, I think it was pretty well attended for our first year, and it was really early in the year. So that was that. I think they want to continue doing that, and we'll be meeting here again shortly just to wrap up that and see what we can do better next year and what we're doing next year. We did have a park board meeting, and Eric and Nikki attended. We had a nice little kind of a round table situation, and talked a lot about plans and probably priorities and mostly the differences in what council might see as a priority over what the park board sees as a priority. Talked about the survey a little bit and went over some of that and the results, and I don't know, Eric can elaborate.
Yeah, I think that it was actually pretty productive, and talked about visions and agreed to meet quarterly
Mhm.
with the park board, and it was a good conversation.
We were gonna try to switch it so like the next time they came to like a work session, and then we go to their meeting, so it's kind of more of a even, we'll come to your meeting or you come to ours.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Two things. I got a call today from Deb Barber. She is our new Met Council district representative. And she's from Shakopee, and she would like to either have the opportunity to meet with the council sometime, or to meet with Luann and myself, or something like that, or if we have any questions, you know, if we have concerns, she said she would see to it she got the right people here to listen to us, so that'd be a first as far as I'm concerned, but anyhow, so would you like to have her come sometime, or just, what's your pleasure?
Yeah, I'd be interested in having, bring her here if she wants to
Okay,
present on the Met Council. It's
okay.
a changing board sometimes, so.
I will get in touch with her, then maybe set something up for one of our meetings that she can just, bring some things forward or share with us what she's doing, so, I didn't make any other comments about the Met Council to her, so I figured I'd keep those to myself.
For now,
For now.
till she gets here.
Okay, also, this morning, Lois called me, and I came up here for the, meeting with the Minnesota Rural Water Association person, and we went through the rate study for the water and for the sewer, and it will be coming, that'll be coming up on the 30th. We're doing the budget, November 3rd, we're doing the budget as part of the work session coming up, but doing the budget and also setting the rates for water and sewer. I guess I'm gonna ask the council, we need to really, I guess, be very forward-thinking. We can't operate those enterprise funds in a deficit. We are going downhill on both of them. We cannot continue to do that. If we continue to do that, we're gonna put the city in a very bad position in 10, 15 years from now. And we're the ones that are gonna be responsible for it. So we need to step up to the plate and look at what the rate should be and make some adjustments to make sure that we are funding those enterprise funds where they're supposed to be. We can't run a deficit. It's just not gonna work any longer. She had some very eye-opening numbers there, and some of those numbers are, depending on how you structure things, make a significant difference, but we need to look at it. She's gonna be here on the 30th and go through it, and we can see what happens when you adjust some things here and there. But it's gonna mean, if we're gonna do this correctly, it's gonna mean a raise in rates, period.
Any idea ballpark what kind of range you're looking at?
No, because we had a couple different ranges. I mean, it could be from increasing our base by, what's our base right now?
On water, it's $10, and the water could go up to $25. I think it was, wasn't it?
Base rate up to 25?
Well, but what she's saying is that, we've gotten PFA funding for our water and our wastewater plant, which what that gives us is lower interest loans in a longer period of time. If our rates aren't up to what is PFA and rural development see as affordable, we won't get any loans or grants from anybody. There aren't grants anymore. And she's telling us that an actual water bill should be $106 is what the affordability rate is, just the water, in the city of Mayer. And so she will bring all those things forward and show you that information and how they will look at it. So next time when it comes time to borrow money for a water or wastewater expansion, you're gonna have to raise the rate. So we need to be getting closer to that so it isn't a huge jump.
Yeah.
And if you remember last year, I gave you that, and I can resurrect that
Are these the funds
memo
that
that
can't,
shows the funds
are
dropping.
these the funds that can't be subsidized with
The taxes.
levies? Yeah.
Yep.
And didn't we raise water, didn't you guys raise
We
water
did a
last?
little bit, yeah.
Raise it
Yeah,
every
that's
year.
good, that's good, if you raise a whole lot more than just a little bit. I guess, to put it in perspective, and Greg Kluwer was here, and he made, he made the
I see my water bill.
comparison, and I figured it out on my cell phone a couple times, but I thought I was doing it wrong because I couldn't believe it, but, even at some of the newer rates, a pint of water that someone draws from the tap would cost less than a penny. You go into Schmitty's and buy a pint of water, you're paying what,
Yeah.
$1.39, $1.49 or more for a pint of water? So it's quite a bargain that we're providing.
Our water's better.
And Mayor Water's better, yes.
So you said these are the ones that we cannot do anything with?
No, enterprise funds you can't levy for, they have to be self-supporting.
We levy for the debt. We can levy for debt on sewer.
Or-
And that's what we levy for, is the
Yeah.
debt, because building permits aren't there.
You said they're coming out November what?
30th,
November 30th,
the fifth Monday.
yeah. And that, we're coming to that on the, work session here, some
So
information
that's
on that
gonna
too,
be a
right?
special
Yeah.
meeting, so.
Okay, anything else, any other council reports, or anything? Okay, then, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made, second to adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.